everyone. My name's John Hilton, Senior Editor here at InsuranceNewsNet, and today I am visiting with Sheryl Moore, CEO of Moore Market Intelligence and Wink Inc. Sheryl is, without a doubt, the most connected person in the life insurance industry, and we're happy to talk to her about compensation today, specifically how comp might be affected by the Department of Labor fiduciary rule proposal.
Hey, John, how's it going?
Oh, how are you?
Good.
So I'm trying to get a sense of, how many small to mid-sized agencies are even, left out there that are caught, you know, caught unprepared and are really going to be impacted by this. Uh,
hmm
what's your sense on that at all?
Well, I guess we have probably about 250 FMOs still in existence, despite all the M&A activity we've seen over the past few years. And I think that despite DOL, those smaller to mid-size FMOs are nervous because they're not able to offer as high of compensation as the big guys are, because the big guys have volume and they get paid bonuses based on their volume. And so those mid to smaller size FMOs don't have that advantage and therefore unable to compete sometimes with the bigger shops. And so even despite the DOL, those agencies are having difficulty competing in an ever increasing comp world. And I think the DOL's fiduciary rule just makes them even more nervous. So they're very eager to have discussions with the integrities and simplicities of the world to see if that's a solution for them to exit their business.
Explain to me like how you are interpreting what this would do to compensation for everyday agents.
Well, I really think, John, it's subjective and it's up in the air at this point because DOL hasn't defined what is reasonable compensation. But, for my point of reference, when I started working in the life insurance industry, we had annuities paying 17% commissions. And so, the 5 or 6% commission that we're seeing paid on a fixed annuity or an index annuity, in my mind, is reasonable when you consider where we've been. But I think that, if I have to keep it real, the DOL is probably looking at compensation for fiduciaries who are taking a fee-based or a percentage of assets under management and saying, these people are being paid 1% of the assets that you manage, and these insurance agents are being paid 5 or 6%. That's unreasonable. And truthfully, they're comparing apples to oranges there. In the long run, the insurance agent is going to be paid less than the advisor who's charging AUM, just because the commission on an annuity is a one-time commission and it's paid at point of sale. There's usually no renewals or additional trails because 97% of deferred annuity apps choose a heaped commission option where it's paid all up front. And when you look at an advisor who's charging AUM, if you get 7 years of AUM fees in there, that advisor's already been paid more than the insurance agent has. So, it's not unusual for legislators to not have a good understanding of how things work because they're not subject matter experts in life insurance and annuities. But I think that's their point of reference. And that, unfortunately, is going to be devastating to the annuity market.
Mm-hmm. So, and just to clarify, because I've seen you talking about this, who is paying the agent? Where does that commission come from?
That is coming from a marketing organization or a brokerage general agency. They get paid directly from the insurance company, a gross amount, which includes an override commission to the agency, as well as the commission to the agent. So then the agency pays the agent the net amount that they're owed for making the case.
The consumer's not actually paying the agent.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And that's a big sticking point for a lot of insurance agents. I get a lot of infighting between financial advisors and insurance agents. The insurance agents asserting that, I'm paid a one-time commission, it's better for the consumer because they're not paying for it. The insurance company pays me.
Okay. So now, how about these steak dinners and these bonuses and these other things kind of perceptionally at least are maybe make the industry look a little bad. Now they would all be banned under the DOL proposal, as I understand it. So how would that impact how an agent does business?
It really depends on the company because, John, really, when we first had the DOL pitching the fiduciary rule and Elizabeth Warren brought attention to these meetings and trips, what we saw was most companies eliminated those incentives just because they wanted to avoid any conflicts of interest for the insurance agents. But interestingly, there are still some insurance companies or distributors who are incentivizing their agents with these trips or bonuses. That will absolutely go away if the DOL is able to get their way.
If overall compensation, let's say it declines, like if I was told tomorrow, I'm going to make 20% less or something, I might look for a different career, right? So,
yeah.
And then there's already difficulty, a producer shortage from time to time. It's, or, all the time, I guess. I mean, do you anticipate even greater difficulty getting folks into this business?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we have a dying distribution. That's been a major issue for decades. We just have more insurance agents retiring and getting out of this business than we have new agents coming in. And I think the statistics that I saw are that in year 3, only 20% of insurance agents have still stuck around once they've gotten into the business. And that's not great. I think that most insurance agents' mentality is, look, I'm having to work harder this year than I did last year because my commission has gone down. And so if I'm looking at taking an additional cut, say 20%, I may be looking for another career. But I do think there's an opportunity for insurance agents to adjust to this and thrive just because a trail commission option type of compensation actually ends up being more lucrative for the agent if the business persists. And so over a longer period of time, they could be paid more. But I think the insurance agent is so hesitant to use a trail commission option just because that contingency is the business has to persist. And John, I think this is a current interest rate environment where really you have to think about that because we have a bunch of business that was issued before fourth quarter of last year when interest rates were incredibly low. And that business is already being replaced because interest rates are so high right now. So the key word in there is persist.
And another thing that caught my eye is the rule would require the producer to have a discussion with the client about a disclosure on this is what I'm being paid to sell you this. And it sounds kind of an awkward conversation, but what are your thoughts? I mean, is that good or bad? I mean, do people even care?
We actually have a number of insurance companies that already have a form like that that's been being used for several years. My perception is that consumers largely don't care because think about it. They know that when they go buy a car, their salesman's being paid a commission. They know that when they buy their house, their real estate agent's getting paid a commission. And most people know real estate agents typically get 7% commission, which is relatively higher than what an insurance agent's going to be paid on an annuity. So that would seem reasonable to most consumers in my perspective. I think that when the agent is able to say, look, this is a commission that's not coming out of your money, it's being paid to me by the insurance company, that also puts the consumer's mind at ease.
Any other thoughts on compensation and what the DOL is trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, I'm really concerned about it, John, just because most advisors who charge based on assets under management have a threshold where they say, I'm only going to work with clients who have this amount of assets or more. So, for example, have at least $500,000 of assets or greater. And annuities are primarily purchased by people that have $150,000 worth of nest egg to put into this retirement savings product. If we're initiating a rule where you have to be charging like an AUM fee rather than earning a commission, that concerns me that a lot of consumers are going to be left out of the cold, and not being able to get the advice that they need when it comes to financial services, insurance, and annuities. So that's my real concern with all of this. I really am encouraged by our industry because we've faced so many challenges from a regulatory standpoint over the past 25 years that I've been in this business, and we're resilient. If the regulation is terrible and we resist it and it still gets pushed through, we find a way to make it work and we persist. I think that this is going to be another one of those examples of us dealing with something that's very uncomfortable, but being able to adjust and move ahead.
All right, Sheryl, I appreciate it. And like I said, I'll stay in touch with you on this. And
Okay.
all right, always good
It's
to
great
talk to
talking
you.
with you, friend.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
All right, you too.